In this video, we're going to be talking about the most useful commanders, and then we're going to be ranking them in a tier list using Tiermaker. So stick around in this video as I'm going to dive in through each and every commander, and I will give you my thoughts on why they are placed in the said corresponding ranks. What's up guys, MEOWER here, back with a brand new Call of Dragons video. In this video we'll be breaking down each and every commander in a tier list using Tiermaker, and we're going to be placing them on how fast you should invest in them and awakening them as soon as possible. Now please note that if a commander is not placed high enough does not mean it works just fine at 5111 and not necessarily needed to awaken right away in order to maximize their effectiveness, and whether if it's in the open field, in PvE, etc., etc., etc. Before we get started, however, I would like to put in a disclaimer that any tier list is subjective and it is based on my experience and in my opinion of playing Call of Dragons. If you do, however, like videos like this, please drop a like and don't forget to subscribe. Without further ado, let's get this video started. Now, in the we're going to start off with the S tier. In the S tier, we're going to have Lilia is not an S tier in terms of how fast you should max her. However, I will put her there regardless, as she is an extremely valuable commander. It's not necessarily needed that you should and must awaken her right away as soon as you unlock her, as she works perfectly 5111. However, she's still one of the most valuable commanders, especially when awakened as well. We're going to put in next up Kinara, one of the best archer commanders, and all of her skills provide amazing value in terms of how fast you should awaken her. Next up is Hosk. Hosk is also one of the best commanders in the game, and when awakened, he provides a fantastic flex option in each and every single March type. Next up, we're going to have Emrys here, even though Bakshi is the reason why Cavalry is viable. However, every single one of Emrys' skills provide insane utility and value when it comes to a March, even though Bakshi should always be the primary. But that is my reason for that is stated in another video. I'll give you a quick recap on that. And why is that? Is because of access to different talent trees. However, Emrys' skills are overall just that much better when compared to Bakshi. Next up, we have Velian. Velian, one of the best mage commanders in the game right now, along with Lilia, and every single one of his skills provide fantastic value, and he should be awakened as soon as possible. Next up, we have Waldir. Waldir is an epic commander as well, but however, you should also awaken him as he's still very useful, and you can flex him in a secondary mage march. Every single one of his abilities provide great, fantastic value, and they are just flat out amazing, and he works fantastically in every single stage of the game. Last but not least, in the S tier, on how fast you should awaken set commanders, we have Guanwin. As Guanwin's last skill unlocks a humongous DPS potential on how fast she can melt people or PvE in the PvE aspect, etc., etc., etc. That is it for the S tier, in my opinion. In the A tier, we're going to place Madeline, we're going to place Nika, we're going to place Nico, and we're going to place Bakshi. All of them, A tier, they're borderline close to S tier. However, I would like to remind you that this tier list is based on how fast you should invest in set commanders and awakening them as soon as possible. Madeline is not really worth awakening as soon as you unlock her, as she is fantastic at 5551. Her last skill and her awakened skill are great, but they are not as priority as the other mentioned commanders before. And Nika has a useless skill, which is her peacekeeping skill, but you would want to awaken her as soon as you start working on your infantry. But when the moment you start working on infantry, you should awaken Madeline first and then Nika, as both of them have amazing synergy together. Next up, Nico. Nico's kit all revolves around his rage skill because of the defense break. His awakened skill is great. Don't get me wrong, I also have him awakened. But his primary skill is the reason why Nico is fantastic, as he has a useless second skill and a subpar third skill, while his fourth skill provides a lot of value. Same goes for Bakshi. He's basically the cavalry commander of, rather than Nico of cavalry, since he has a fantastic first skill, a useless second skill, subpar third skill, and potential for extremely high value on his fourth skill. And the awakened skill of Bakshi is not really that impactful as it only increases the damage rates by 10%, an extra 100, and increases his HP gain by 30%. Next up, in the B tier, we're going to be placing Thea. We're going to be placing Alwyn. We're going to be placing Craig along with Bakar. These commanders, great. They are great supplements for their legendary counterparts if you do not have that many legendary commanders. Thea, amazing support, great flying commander, works perfectly fine at 5-1-1-1-1, even better when awakened just to give that extra shield to your allies. Alwyn, amazing DPS, nothing more to be said about that. Craig's awakened skill has potential to provide one of the highest DPS in the game. And Bakar is like a budget Nika. He's great, he's fantastic, and one of my all-time favorite commanders. If I did not have Madel Nika, I would definitely be running Bakar in infantry somewhere. And finally, for the C tier, we have Garwood. Just don't work on Garwood, or work on him extremely passively. We have Alistar, very underwhelming. Atheist, very underwhelming. Eliana could be a B or a C tier. However, you should never use any universal tokens on her. That's why she's in the C tier. However, she's still a great commander regardless. And that's it for the regular commanders. As for gathering, you only want to use Kella and Chakacha and in this for gathering. If you do eventually, if a year goes by and you do eventually awaken in this, we're going to change her place on the tier list, but for now she's good for nothing else except for gathering. Same goes for Pan. Pan, when she's awakened, she'll be useful. However, she should not be a priority for you to awaken as soon as possible. And Ordo is just an engineering commander with some gathering. However, he is not a priority to max out as soon as possible using any universals. And yeah, that's it when it comes to how fast you should work on each commander and how soon you should awaken them compared to others. Please note, just because a commander is ranked a bit lower does not mean they are bad. By all means, Madeline is an S tier when it comes to open field and garrisons and such, but she is not a priority when it comes to awakening. This tier list is only for how fast you should awaken a commander in order to maximize their potential and their value when it comes to playing in Call of Dragons in whatever field you plan to use them on. If you do like videos like this, please drop a like and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have different opinions than mine, feel free to comment them down below. I would love to have a discussion with everyone on this tier list. And yeah, I will see you